Hey guys, this is Luis D from PhoneArena, and today we're checking out the new Oppo R7 Plus. The Oppo R7 Plus is most certainly an interesting phablet, for it has a large display, a metal construction and modern day hardware powering it. But does it have what it takes to justify its admittedly considerable price tag of $500 unlocked? We'll have a try at answering that by putting the phablet through its paces. The Oppo R7 Plus is a plus-size smartphone for serious phablet lovers only. Still, its dimensions are pretty reasonable for such a literal heavyweight. The R7 Plus feels solid and definitely heavy. Also of note is that Oppo managed a very good screen-to-body ratio of nearly 77%. The Oppo R7 Plus is also a good-looking and tightly constructed smartphone. It's rectangular, with rounded corners for a better grip, and its sides are decorated with chamfered grooves. Yet plastic still plays part in the formula, for there are two plastic bands on the back where the antennas are positioned. Meanwhile, the display is covered in shapely Arc-Etch 2.5D glass, which is a fancy way of saying that the glass is contoured along the smartphone's edges for an elegant flowing effect. Aside from the camera, the R7 Plus has a fingerprint scanner on its back, along with a single loudspeaker. The scanner is shaped as a rounded rectangle. Reaching for it feels easy and natural with the index finger, but the fingerprint recognition isn't as immediate as we hoped. Getting it to accurately respond upon the first try is really a question of touching the sensor at the precise right spot. Sometimes it takes us 2 to 3 tries to unlock the device, so we have to rate the scanner as average and not reliable. While it may not have the iPhone 6's precise contours or the HTC One M9's hand-polished sheen, the R7 Plus certainly has its charm and has been built with attention to detail. But excellence in appearance isn't always a sign of practicality. Firstly, the R7 Plus is completely flat and doesn't lend itself to your hand quite like other big smartphones such as the LG G4 do. Also, the volume buttons, which are set to the left, are stiff and shallow, although they do give out a nice click. Also of note is that the Oppo R7 Plus is a dual SIM smartphone with a catch. The SIM card tray houses either 2 nano SIM cards or 1 nano SIM card and 1 micro SD card simultaneously. Now, there are more refined designs out there, such as the dual SIM Xperia Z3 Plus that can fit 2 nano SIM cards and a micro SD card on a single tray. Hopefully, Oppo and others in the business will finally catch up to that. Now let's have a look at the display. The Oppo R7 Plus flaunts a 6-inch 1080p resolution Super AMOLED display with a pixel density of 367 pixels per inch. This makes for a crisp image, although not as crisp as what you'd see on a Quad HD resolution screen of similar size. The display's color temperature measures 8149 Kelvin, which is quite cold. This results in a bluish tint that isn't distracting, but stands in the way of natural color reproduction. The average gamma value of 2.14 indicates that the grayscale brightness is rather accurate, but the unwanted bluish hue observed when displaying shades of gray is noticeable. The maximum brightness level we measured was 329 nits, which is workable but not entirely sufficient for comfortable use under bright sunlight. Also, the glass cover on the R7 Plus is quite reflective. On the other hand, we measured a minimum brightness level of 4 nits, which is adequate for bedtime reading. As for color balance, our test results showed that the green and cyan shades in particular are rather overblown. The white point drifts into blue, red is underrepresented and green is far from the reference values. This isn't a deal breaker though, for the color balance is still tolerable. The image isn't washed out or overly contrasting. Still, the Oppo R7 Plus panel does exhibit a fair bit of brightness drop and color distortion when viewed at a 45-degree angle, which is typical of AMOLED screens, but the image still holds up well compared to the average IPS LCD screen. You can trust it to remain clear and visible under all but the most extreme viewing angles. At present, the Oppo R7 Plus runs the most up-to-date build of Android Lollipop, but there's no word yet on whether the device is going to be updated to Android Marshmallow. However, Android is skinned with the ColorOS 2.1 interface, which we're okay with for the most part. Like most Chinese user interfaces out there, this one borrows its design bits from Apple's iOS. The familiarities are evident in aspects foreign to Android, such as the lack of an app drawer. We also find a very iOS-like camera app and a horizontal card-based app switching system. If you'd like to customize the look and feel, you can use the theme store to download pre-made themes to spice up your lock screen and home screen with new sets of icons, backgrounds and wallpapers. Unfortunately, it has been a long while since new themes have been published, so despite having plenty of them on offer, the place seems abandoned. Oppo's stock apps and menus look simplistic, but they don't compromise functionality or user pleasantries. Oppo has seemingly rebuilt almost each app from the ground up, presenting fresh yet not all sorts of better takes on the typical stock apps such as contacts, email, calendar, clock, calculator, files, and so on. There is also a built-in performance optimization app called Security Center. It's a reasonably competent app for a stock one, and it could easily take care of your system cleanup and maintenance needs, unless you favor a specific application or look after power user functionality. ColorOS comes with a gesture control system as well. While the screen on the Oppo R7 Plus is turned off, one can double tap on it to wake the phone up, draw an O to start the camera app, or control music playback. These gestures seem to work quite reliably, and the rest of the gestures available are actually pretty cool, but it's up to you to decide whether they'll become essential functionality or not. Talking about performance, the Oppo R7 Plus sports the same hardware configuration as the smaller Oppo R7. We're talking of a Qualcomm Snapdragon 615 chipset that contains an octa-core CPU clocked at 1.5 GHz, an Adreno 405 GPU, and an ample 3 GB of RAM. Oppo is providing you with 32 GB of internal storage, which you're able to increase with a microSD card, provided you don't want to take advantage of the dual SIM functionality. In that case, you'd be left with about 23 GB of usable storage and perhaps whatever your preferred cloud service may have in store. In performance tests, the Oppo R7 Plus performs identically to the Oppo R7, giving out solid processing scores but bad three-dimensional graphics performance. The phablet can handle casual titles in most 3D games, but don't expect smooth frame rates in really advanced stuff such as Gameloft's Asphalt 8 or Modern Warfare. In general, the R7 Plus is competent at handling the essential everyday tasks, applications generally start fast, and we didn't experience any random reboots, crashes, or RAM management problems. However, we must note that the user interface is prone to some lag and stutter. Nothing outrageous, but you might be annoyed at times. Connectivity-wise, the Oppo R7 Plus supports all essential connectivity standards thanks to its Qualcomm modem. Therefore, chances are you won't find yourself out of range in most parts of the world. As for internet browsing, the stock Oppo browser is competent enough for reliable browsing. It's got typical options such as choosing a default search engine and adding favorites, along with stuff like traceless browsing, no picture and night modes, and a built-in download manager. However, the browser is a bit sluggish while displaying and scrolling pages. It's nothing too terrible as the browser is still useful, just not very, shall we say, zippy. Now, how about the camera? On the R7 Plus back there is a 13-megapixel Sony IMX270 camera accompanied by a dual LED flash and laser autofocus system, while the front camera on this thing is an 8-megapixel one. Obviously, this is a competent camera setup that's able to deliver very satisfying photos. First off, we observed fast autofocus, probably assisted by the laser focusing system. Also, the automatic white balance is very accurate in general. The color balance is natural, with the camera successfully capturing the warm tones of the morning sun. Noise filtering is moderate, and we would say that fine details hold up pretty well. However, the HDR mode on the Oppo R7 Plus is a bit of a hit or miss. In particular, some HDR scenes appear more contrasty than non-HDR ones, which is rather odd. And it is weird how highlights that look fine in a non-HDR image could be rendered overblown by having HDR enabled. Indoor photography produces decent results, although the less light you have at your disposal, the more smeary your photo will turn out, as the resulting noise triggers heavier filtering. Still, there's nothing notable to complain or be amazed of. In low light scenarios, the R7 Plus dual LED flash truly and quite literally shines. The artificial light is strong and the scene is illuminated in a neutral tone. In fact, you should definitely take the time and explore all the imaginative modes and effects that Oppo has built into the camera app. The ones that come pre-installed are the self-explanatory colorful filters, HDR, GIF and slow shutter. But Oppo's camera app's webshop also includes modes such as audio photo, double exposure, super macro and raw as downloadable add-ons. Of note here is the Ultra HD mode, which is able to blend a few shots into a 25 megapixel resolution image that appears a little more detailed than 13 megapixel shots. The difference is hardly stark, but those who prefer to crop images will appreciate this mode's ability to squeeze additional detail out of the camera sensor. Now, turning our attention to the front camera, with that massive 8 megapixel sensor, the Oppo R7 Plus takes very good selfies. Although self-portraits don't appear as sharp as rear cam photos due to the absence of autofocus, the Oppo R7 Plus can shoot 1080p video with the front and rear cam, and the rear camera video is possible but not without apparent problems. See, the image lacks pop and sharpness, and the video is very shaky even while holding the smartphone still in our hands. We also have to complain about the microphone's noise cancellation. In a noisy environment such as the side of a busy road, the effect is incredibly harsh. Same goes for the video we shot indoors in a very quiet environment, and while we're talking indoor video, image quality is, in short, unpleasant. Multimedia-wise, with its big display and decent loudspeaker and headphone output, the Oppo R7 Plus is just great for multimedia consumption. The device plays most popular video formats without a hitch, and for music listeners the R7 has a special trick up its sleeve. It's called Direct HD sound. The difference in music reproduction quality isn't mind-blowing, but it's there. The sound becomes somewhat fuller and more expansive with the feature turned on. But the Dirac enhancements are only available while wearing the stock earphones. Turning our attention to the call quality, the Oppo R7 Plus sounds pretty good on both sides of the conversation. Due to the noise cancellation employed, voices from it appear slightly muffled, but it's nothing too terrible. The earpiece is plenty loud, and so is the loudspeaker, so chances are you won't have trouble carrying out the conversation in noisy environments. And the all-important battery life. Oppo was smart to take advantage of the larger footprint allowed by a smartphone with a 6-inch display, so it stuffed the R7 Plus full of a sizable 4100 mAh unit. This is a respectable capacity, but what really matters here is whether the device is engineered to make the most of it or not. Well, the Oppo R7 Plus lasted an impressive 9 hours and 58 minutes of constant on-screen use in our battery test, which is a very good result. Moreover, the Oppo R7 Plus takes a pretty reasonable 107 minutes to fully charge its battery with a bundled cable and charger. However, wireless charging doesn't come on this phone, so if you like that piece of technology, you should probably look elsewhere. So, does the Oppo R7 live up to its potential? Well, the complaints we have with this phablet are quite substantial. Basically, the R7 Plus display characteristics don't live up to its price tag, which revolves around the $500 mark. And the phone's performance also leaves a lot to be desired when it comes to graphics performance. For the same amount of cash, the Samsung Galaxy Note 4 still offers a better display, significantly faster graphics, a better camera, and additional functionality over the Oppo R7 Plus. Then there's the Google Nexus 6, which is more responsive with its performance and packs a better screen, all while costing less than $400. We can also recommend the LG G4 as a high-end smartphone at a sub $500 price tag that may be a bit smaller and lack that metallic luster, but has a higher resolution display and likely has better camera performance than the Oppo R7 Plus. We think these three phones make for more sensible buys than Oppo's phablet. This is Luis from PhoneArena, thanks for watching our review.